internet. You're very good health. I hope this finds you well. I am recording this on November 27th, 2021, which would have been the 79th birthday of the one and only Mr. James Marshall Hendrix. So yeah, we're doing Jimmy this month. All the solos are taken from the first album, Are You Experienced? And we'll sort of gradually take a look at how his playing developed over the years. And we're going to start off by looking at the solo from Fire. This is in first position E minor pentatonic. And here we are. So, there's nothing particularly tricky here from a technical point of view. I should say as well, all the tabs for these are linked in the description, so we won't chat too much about fingering. But what we're really interested in here is the unison bend technique. It's actually a really useful technique to learn if you're new to string bending. String bending when you first start off is hard work. So a lot of people will bend, and it takes an awful lot of effort to bend up a whole tone. Of course, as your grip gets better, your fingers get stronger, your technique just generally improves. It doesn't take as much effort. So that's why when I was first teaching, I would watch people underbend and then suddenly massively overbend, because they weren't bending to a noise, they were bending to a level of pain and effort. Now the unison bend techniques gets around that by saying, well, here is your root note, bend this note up to match it. And it's also notable for its use of call and response. It's a really good storytelling solo. Here's my call. First response. Call again. Call again. And response. And then final, modified slightly to produce a conclusion. What's also interesting is the conclusion notes. So the first response note is a G, second is a B, third is an E, and then back to the G again. So kind of outlining an E minor triad there. Whether or not he meant to is another story, but it's a nice pattern to pick out. So a great one to practice vibrato on, great one to practice pitching your bends. Really, really good solo to learn for anybody who's new to this type of playing. Right, moving on. We're going to take the conclusion run from the end of Foxy Lady. Now this is F sharp minor pentatonic, and we are by and large in first position again. Now there's a few concepts at work here, and I did say in the blog that it was easier to show than tell, so I've sort of made a rod for my own back here, but here we are. Magic 3 notes. In this key that's 16th fret G, 14th fret B, 17th fret on the B. Their friend, 14th fret on the high E. Now what's really interesting is the bit on the end there. Because rather than this being just a flurry of notes, Hendrix actually creates a little bit of space. So on the second half of the lick he plays same motif but brought down a string, and then same idea, just tweaked slightly to include a position shift and come down to the 14th fret below. So the whole thing and notice that tweaks the ear. That use of space there gives it almost like a riff quality. So it's not just notes for the sake of notes. There is actually a very, very musical part to that. You have to excuse me, I'm struggling with an awful, awful cold. How very retro to have a cold in the age of coronavirus, I know, but there we are. I never was one of the cool kids. I'm going to move back on to Highway Child, and this is our lick. So this is taken from the start of the solo, and again this is a really cool call and response idea. Obviously he's basing the entire thing heavily around, which is something that we've all played. So that's your bar across the 12th fret B and E strings, 14th fret bend on the G. And what's interesting again is the way he resolves it. Call. And there's my first response. And call again. And this time just ever so slightly tweaked. Here's a unison bend technique again. And then he kind of concludes it by just playing the call twice over. And again, if you listen to the song, the whole solo develops around that idea. Right, we're going to move on to something a little bit different for the last one. This is taken from Waterfall, and it's in A, obviously it's D-tuned semitone, but the original is taken from the A major scale. So very different from your usual slash and burn Hendrix pentatonics. This is gravitating very heavily off the C sharp here, the 18th fret, and the 11th fret F sharp notes, which are the 3rd and 6th notes of the one. Sorry, 3rd and 7th notes of the one chord. So and obviously the licks tabbed out, not need any help with that really. But just to explain the concept behind it. Now, really cool way to embrace these ideas is to map out the A major scale, or whatever key you happen to be in, along one string. So I'm going to go. And there are loads of ways that you can do this. Now, and the idea he tends to use is he'll pick and pull off to the scale degree below, slide down to the scale degree below that, and then hammer on back up one. So for here, for example, C sharp, pull off to B, slide to A, hammer back to B. Now, if I were to take that concept across the entire G string, leave the G string comments in the comments. YouTube scamps, but you can see there, great little line. To play it backwards. So you can see that that's another example of how you can take the basic idea that he's done, extrapolate it out and run with it. And another great idea to take from that is to use thirds. So what I'm going to do here, for example, E, miss out the D and go to C sharp, up to D and down to B. Let's try that again, shall we? Rick Graham can get away with leaving mistakes, and I can too. Taking that back up. So there we are. I hope you enjoyed that. As I say, all the tab will be linked in the description below. And next month, and it will come as no surprise to anybody who's been following the 1 Minute Licks on Instagram, next month we're doing Joe Bonamassa, so that's going to be something. Okay. Well, I'll wrap things up there. Please do like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. It's YouTube. You all know how to use YouTube probably better than I do. And I'll see you next month. All the best. Don't forget to order you a copy of 2 Pint Solos and download the backing tracks for free. I'll see you soon. Sorry, I'll just shut you down there. Fuck's sake, there's nothing working.